Well, no, I mean, I guess on catch-up TV and stuff like that, they still have them. They're not on. It's not on regular TV, but I guess these days there's 5,000 channels, so it's always on somewhere.
I remember when I was in England, they only had like 4 or 5 channels, man.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You know, when I remember when we had BBC One and BBC Two, and TV finished it, right?
Exactly, BBC One, BBC Two. Yep.
And that was it. And then they brought in ITV, and then Channel 4, and then it expanded. But I remember getting up on a Saturday morning, and I used to sit in front of the TV, waiting for TV to start. Because it started 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'd sit there just with the TV on, waiting for it to start.
Man.
But when I remember when we were in Canada, you know, every night the TV would close down, certain channels would close down, and they'd play the national anthem. So, you know, sometimes my uncle used to stand up while they played the national anthem before he went to bed. I was like, oh my God.
Man, I tell you what, when I was watching TV over there, man, I mean, Benny Hill was a thing, and this one show I used to love, man, Oriental show called Monkey. And everything. You remember that?
Monkey? Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Monkey. You know, and they remade it into a movie. There's a movie version.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you can find it on YouTube, it was really cool. It's really cool, and it reminded me of the TV series. It's got all the characters in the whole thing. It's real cool. But yeah, Monkey was a big one.
And I know it blew my mind. It blew my mind over there that you got to see boobs and shit. You know, when you was young, you're like, yeah, hell yeah. They didn't give them. I'm like, dude, they're showing boobs on there. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess that was why Benny Hill became such a huge hit in America.
No doubt, bro.
You know, yeah, totally cool.
Well, let me start the interview. All right, this is Donell for the Wrecking Ball Time. We're Tony, Demolition Man, Dolantoo.
How are you?
All right.
All the way from London, coming to you.
Hell yeah. All right, we started an interview yesterday, but it was a good interview, but there's some things that my man wanted to leave out, so he's like, all right, man, let's just do a new one, start up again. So, like we was talking, you know, now, like I said, I missed you in Mobile, Alabama. I got, you know, seeing the, 2 originals of Venom and everything.
Yeah.
And you mentioned yesterday why and what happened when he left. You know, it wasn't you guys firing him or nothing. He was just being him.
It just came to a national. I guess it came to its own conclusion. You know.
Yeah.
You know, music shouldn't be political. I don't mean, you know, political statements. I mean, of course, I don't think that really has a place in listening to music either.
Yeah.
But you know, like the punk rock thing or anything like that, there's always a revolution from the youth, and they want to scream and shout. And sometimes you get anarchy in the UK or God Save the Queen, and sometimes you don't. But I think that what I mean by the politics is, yeah, I think within a band, you know, you wanna be supportive of each other, you want to trust each other, you want to be friends with each other, and you want to share the experience.
That's the hardest part, bro.
You know, I guess Venom were brought up in a different kind of time, and it all happened for them very quickly, and they learned the worst way how to how to prey off each other and try and, you know, do each other
hit each other's buttons, right?
Yeah, and you know, and I guess that's where we got to. You know, the 2 guys, Mantis and Abaddon, weren't happy with each other. I guess Abaddon wasn't happy with me or with the management, and the management weren't happy with this. And I just thought, you know, the whole idea of this was to forego all the bad shit that's happened before, forget everything that has been wrongly done, and just take the music to the fans and just
fucking make music.
Just make music. And you know, I'm going to be 55 on the 21st of January.
Woo!
And I was the youngest one at the 3 of us.
I'm going to be 50 in February, man.
Ah, awesome. Not
awesome.
I mean, awesome you're still alive.
Yeah.
awesome. You know, the aging thing sucks, but at least we're still alive, for fuck's sake. But I just think, you know, at my age, you know, I'm not 16, I'm not 20. It's like I can't be fucked with all that stuff. It just sidelines me. It sidetracks the whole issue, and it takes away energy from being positive and from playing and from getting out there.
I understand you, man. That's why I'm doing. I mean, I had so many projects that I wasted my time with because of this and that. I'm like, I mean, this year I'm doing my own thing. And that's it. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself, you know?
Well, you know, it's kind of true, Blake. The thing is that when you feel that everything about you is music and that you want to be creative and that's all you want to do, and you get, you know, you put all your energy into anything, for something to go wrong or to be a dark alley that you went down and you were the only one who had the faith in it, you know, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Exactly. So you end up doing several things. I think I'm fortunate because myself and Mantis in particular are like brothers, and we think the same, we create the same, we feel the same, and we respond off each other. So, you know, I think the original Venom had a kind of a charisma. And
oh man, he mentioned an album when you first came into Venom. What was the name?
Primeval. Primeval.
That's it.
Primeval, yeah.
But he did bring up a band I even forgot about, Adam Craft.
Yes, that was. Well, you know, that was my band, which was going. We began before Venom.
Yeah.
And we kind of like paralleled with them in the area, but Kronos worked at a record label, what became Neat Records. He worked at the studio, so they got to record and stuff, because recording demos was expensive, and we couldn't afford it as young guys. Conrad being in the studio helped them to be able to record the demo. Of course, the first people who heard it then said, "You're going to sign this," and the rest was history. But, you know, I always kept my band going. We weren't satanic, but we were dirty and loud and all and everything else. And, you know, but I think by the time we got signed to Neat Records, so we were on the same label, but it was too late for us, I think. The scene had exploded. You know, you had Slayer, Metallica, Exodus, Testament, you know, you had Destruction, Creator, Sodom, you know, the whole thing was going nuts. And I think by the time I managed to get an album. I've been demoing since '79, but by the time I actually got a record out, I used all the old material, and it was too late. It was too late. I should have refreshed it. But it kept us associated with the Venom boys. Of course, we were all very close. We did a tour with Exodus and them, the first tours. You know, we did the Slayer on the Hell Awaits tour. We played with them in their only London show. You know, when we were on tour in Copenhagen, Metallica came down to the show. They were recording Ride the Lightning. So, you know, everybody was in the same frame. But I just think that, you know, the band missed the boat slightly. But when it came to, you know, swapping into Venom, it was a case that, you know, Jeff had gone unpossessed because he just lost the confidence in their music. He thought they'd lost their way. It became about the personalities and less about the music, so he didn't want to be part of it. And then they brought two of the guitarists in, and I think then Conrad thought when they did Calm Before the Storm that he could do better than that. And so he kind of departed to go to America on a visa for 6 months and try and make it there, which left Abaddon, and there was a deal on the table for a new Venom album. So he contacted me because he'd been tour managing with my band. And he knew I was a huge fan. He knew I knew the materials. He knew I didn't give a fuck. And so it was a look. Well, would you write the album and come and play Venom? And I was like, fuck. I mean, for all that anybody was criticizing me at the time for doing it, I thought, you know, what fan wouldn't want to join the best band? You know, when Jason got the job in Metallica, or when Rob Torrillo got the job. I mean, you know, and Rob Torrillo, who's this fucking incredible virtuoso 5-string slap motherfucking playing off the back. And he's in Metallica playing single notation. So, you know, that's like sawing your leg off. But he knows that it's Metallica and the material is fucking great material and he gets to play it. And so that was the same for me. I thought, yeah, great, but I needed to have Mantis there. So I said I would only agree to do it if Mantis came. So I had to be the bridge between the two, much like with Venom Inc. I was the bridge that held it together. And we did Primeval, and it was great, you know.
Oh yeah, that's one album he brought up
to do that album.
Yeah, that's one album he brought up, man. And I mean, yeah, man, it was fucking awesome. Yeah, man. Since you brought that up, he was this is my buddy Wes Fizar. That's his name.
Yeah.
He asked me to ask you a question. Okay. How you feel about the streaming with Spotify and?
Well, you know, initially I think, you know, because when the streaming thing started, and of course there was the Napster thing, and laws came out against it, and people taking music because they hadn't even mastered an album, and people had already ripped it out of the studio, you know, out the airwaves, and that's why he got pissed. He was like, hang on, and everybody attacked Lost for being money greedy and this and that.
You did the right thing.
But he was right. And the point he was making, which I think people missed, wasn't about just making money, was in the fact that it's like an artist painting a painting and you taking it before he's finished it. You know, I mean, it's like, surely you want him to finish it and go, I'm happy, there's the painting. And it's the same thing with an artist who's creative in any creativity, but certainly with music. I want to give you the best product I can. If I give you the best product I can and you still think it sucks, well, that's the best I could do. So I have to do better next time. If I give you the best product I can and you go, fuck me, this is the best thing you ever did, then I'll be happy that I did myself. And I think that at that particular point with the Napster thing, Lars was just pissed to go, we haven't finished it yet. This isn't what we wanted you to have. Give us a chance to finish it. But I think now progressively with Spotify, iTunes, the platform, streaming services, I think that the labels pushed everybody into a situation where they wanted to maximize their income. They wanted to reduce their costs. So if you're paying a license for iTunes, for example, or Spotify, I don't need to manufacture colors. I don't need to manufacture product. I don't need to pay stores to have them on the shelves. And I don't need to pay export and import, and I don't need to pay shipping. All I need to do is keep some records, 100 records here, 100 CDs here. You can mail order them if you want, and you're going to pay for all of that cost because the shipping's probably going to cost more than the frigging product in the first place. No doubt. So you're going to pay $12 for a CD, but $20 to ship it to you. So you know you're paying for everything. And then if it's up streaming, I don't need any staff, because iTunes are running it on a stream. So people can download it. Now, that's brilliant, and it's great business, and it's capitalistic and smart. Plus, it means that you're in Poughkeepsie, I'm in, San Diego, someone else is in, Mexico City, the other person's in Lima, the other person's in Tokyo, but we can all access the music straight away, and the artwork, because it's all up there, so I can download the music, download the artwork, put it on any device I want, on my phone, on my whatever, and I'm ready to go. Now that's brilliant. Again, it means I've got immediate access to your album. I don't have to wait for the store to get it in and wait 6 weeks for it to be shipped to me. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're in a different territory. It's all on the web. So it's right there, straight away. So that's positive. The problem becomes only when the artist can't make money. Because if bands can't make money, they can't survive.
Yeah, can't tour. Yeah. Now, you guys? I know the original Venom. Like they toured with fucking lights, the big thing,
big stage show.
Yeah, but you guys, you just keep it simple. Yeah.
Well, if we've done festivals where sometimes we've had great lighting rigs, sometimes they've even give us some puff and some smoke and some pyro. But I think that the original Venom did very few shows for several reasons, but one, it was very expensive to have 5,000 bombs going off, so you've got to pay for all
Hammersmith.
that Methodian. But what's interesting is the scissor lift that they used for the drum rise, a lot of the ramps for the 666, those guys built them, painted them themselves, and loaded them into wagons.
Wow. Because
there was no like 5,000 crew and everything done for them.
Like I saw the interview. I think it was Ultimate Revenge when Cronus was like talking. It's like, yeah, when we start this band, and we like looked at. He's like, man, we looked at the stage like bigger. We need it bigger.
Yeah.
You know. So
because they realized very quickly that every one of the Jeff's favorite bands was Kiss, and
shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Kiss and Judas.
Kiss started me.
But Kiss, and you would go to a Kiss show and you'd think, fucking hell. So that's what they envisaged. We need to be that. We need to have big stage, big bumps, because if you do that, if you look like $1 million, people think you're $1 million band. And you got $5 in the bank, but people think. So, they would hire limousines to drive them to the shows.
What?
The classic story where they took all that leader from was Kiss. When Kiss did the main show that they did to try and get a record deal was that they hired a load of girls, a load of models. They hand printed Kiss shirts, I love Kiss, and they give all these girls the shirts. And they said, right, what we need you to do is get down the front, lose your shit, like we're the sexiest, best band you've ever seen. Just lose your shit for the whole show.
Show your tits.
Exactly. And what happened was this rock and roll band with a bit of makeup and a very small club in retrospect with a very minimal stage show that they'd made themselves, the set they'd made themselves, the girls in t-shirts they printed themselves and hired in. The record executives walked in and saw all these women going crazy. And they fought each other to sign the band.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. So it wasn't so much on the band's a great band or the music's great. It was like they were looking at a phenomenon and thinking, fucking hell, if these girls are all buying this merch and they're all going nuts, we can make a fortune off these guys. So it worked for Kiss and it worked for the record companies. And I think Venom kind of took that on board and they used it and thought, if we, they hadn't played many shows. They played a couple of local clubs. I went to see them, They were just a band. But they knew very quickly once they got a record deal that they were inexperienced playing shows. So if they said, we can't play shows while they were practicing, I guess, but we can't play shows because we're too big. We're too big because our stage show is too big. It's massive. We can't play anywhere. Nobody let us play it. All of a sudden, people were going, for fuck's sake, we need these guys to play somewhere. And they get booked into Hammersmith Odeon. So now you go, shit. So any money they had, they spent on pyrotechnics. And that's what happened every time they went out. They might be £100,000 worth of pyrotechnics. And they'd walk away with no money. But it was all on the stage show. But it was to convince people that it was a huge thing. Fast forwarding now, the advantage is that most of the big festivals in Europe and stuff have a kind of pyrotechnics built into the shows. So if you're going out like Conrad is now, he doesn't have to pay for pyrotechnics because if he's up on the bill, they'll give him the fire, they'll give him the smoke. So you still maintain the look that you're traveling this huge show, but you're actually not anymore. Someone else is paying for it and supplying it. But we've been in places where they didn't even have a lighting rig and minimal lighting and
they had just one light bulb. One light bulb.
Kind of. But my thing is, I came off stage once. We were playing somewhere, and the place was we had a big backdrop. And the place was too small to have the size backdrop we had. So I couldn't make it work. So I fuck it, we don't need the backdrop, leave it. So I came off stage and exactly. Fans were talking and somebody said, you didn't have a backdrop. The other bands had a backdrop. Why didn't you have a backdrop? And I said, do you not know who we are?
Doesn't matter.
And he said, of course.
Yeah.
He said, of course, everybody knows who you are. I said, okay. And he said, yeah, but I just thought you might make it look good. I said, man, if I'm standing on stage for an hour and a half and you're staring at my fucking backdrop, I said I shouldn't be standing on stage, should I?
Yeah, that's it. That's it, brother. That's it. I saw.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I saw something. I mean, I was watching you guys doing "Welcome to Hell" live, man, and the fans' response to that was fucking badass. But
Yeah.
let's get to the Ave album. I mean, I'm going to bring up all the old questions, and they did write a song about me, Black and Roll, just to make
Yes,
it.
I did.
So the Ave, I'm trying to pronounce it right,
Ave.
brother. Ave.
That's it.
Now tell like how you come up with the name of the album.
Well, Ave is the album opens with an aria by Maria Carreras, Ave Maria, which is a famous, hymn, and it's a definitive version. And Ave from Latin, and it was used to like hail, to say hello, goodbye,
Yep.
salute you, whatever. So it was a salute. And it could also be used as a thanks, I guess. And kind of, it was a nod to the fans who supported the band, because we didn't want, well, I personally did not want to make an album. I was quite happy for us to just play live shows, find all the B-sides, find
Really?
all the tracks that never had been heard before, and take them all out, And
Metal We
regardless,
Bleed, and I think Metal We Bleed, and there's some others, man. I mean, I'm like, all right, that's the Venom I know. That's cool.
awesome. I think we didn't, approaching the album, we didn't want to plagiarize. It's one thing I said to Mantis: you can't plagiarize yourself, so don't look back and try and be Venom.
Be Venom. So you was just trying to make a whole new outfit then.
Yes, I said, you basically, you were Mantis, you are Mantis, and you will be Mantis. So all you have to be is Mantis. So, and I think that's the thing. I think as an individual musician, I think there's two kinds of guys. I always say the same thing. It's two people. There's a guy who's in a band, and there's a musician. Now, they're not the same animal. They're two different people. One guy can just play music and doesn't give a shit. He just wants to play. The other guy can't exist if he isn't in that band. He is that style, he's that band, and that's it. If you take that away from him, there's nothing left. So he has to be in that band. And I said to Jeff, the thing is, what we have done with our careers is we've done everything, all kinds of things. I said, and that's what we embrace. Who we are is who we are. So all you have to do is be that. Nothing more, nothing less. The minute you try and be something else, an image that the fans think, or you try and copy the music you did before 30, 40 years ago, it's going to fail, because the one thing in particularly in rock, but definitely in metal, is the fans will smell blood and they will smell fake. Ooh. If you're fake, they will fucking smell the blood straight away. You have to be honest and you have to be you. So be you. And if people like that, great. And like Lemmy said, if you like me, great. If you don't like me,
you read my mind, man. I was going to ask you, you and Lemmy was before Lemmy passed, well, really, it was like a day before he passed.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, girl, she was at Lemmy's birthday party, and she sent me the picture of Lemmy. I'm like, Lemmy's not looking good, man. I mean, she's like, oh, he's okay. He's just, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, he's not looking good. And the next day, dead.
Yeah.
So, did you know the man?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was like many, my story is as insignificant as another million stories, or as significant, but very much like everybody else. I wasn't as close to him as some people were, unfortunately, but that was by my own choice too. I walked into a place in the late 70s, not expecting, seeing a punk band and not expecting to see the band that I saw, but I walked out shell-shocked, and it was Motorhead.
You saw them earlier.
Whatever I do. Oh yeah, about 78. On the Motorhead tour. then the Overkill tour, and
Damn,
you
bro.
know, yeah, I was blown away by the sound, by the presence, by how it
Loud.
looked, everything. It was like, wow.
I
It
know
was
that
like
was
this.
loud as fuck, huh?
Oh my God, and on the Ace of Spades tour, on the Ace of Spades, oh no, the Bomber tour, I went to see them on the Bomber tour, and I spent the whole night with my head on his bass bin, the groove tube for the PA, the whole bass coming out. I couldn't fucking hear for 3 weeks. I couldn't hear. I was like, for 3 weeks, but it
Dude,
was worth it.
I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. That was the first, really, between SOD, but I hate to say it, Ace of Spades was my first thrash song I learned on bass with a band. You know?
Really.
It was
Awesome.
more than
Awesome.
on the hands down. It was my first one. You know?
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
I remember we used to have a show called Top of the Pops on a Thursday.
Top
which
of
was
Pops! Top of
a
Pops!
chart show, but it was the only music show. So, I mean, we had a thing called the Whistle Test, but that was for like older,
I remember the Top of the Pops, man. That was the main
But, yeah.
thing. I mean, I used to like, yeah, Top of the Pops coming on that. And I remember hey, check this out. I used to remember coming home. I know, I'm showing my age. Bay City Rollers, Bart Bowling. You know, the afternoon fucking
the
shit.
sweet mud, yeah.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had shows, man. You know.
Now you take that show and kind of how pop rock it was, and it was all chart stuff. And I tuned in one Thursday night, and Motorhead were playing their new single, Overkill. Man, it was like a fucking Mack truck just ran through the building. I was like, holy shit. And today when you look at the extreme genres with these incredible musicians and these incredible genres, deathcore, crossover, black metal, death metal, the musicianship, the sound, the compositions, the power of it, and you then just wipe all that away. Think of just your top 20 Mariah Carey's and your rapper and all that. And just imagine all of a sudden Motorhead's Overkill comes on. Fucking hell,
Like a smack in your face, man. Hell yeah.
Look, I went to school the next day, and every single kid in the school was going, "What the fuck was that?" It was like, "Oh my God, they've cracked the egg."
That's it.
Extreme was born right there. Chaos. Nobody had played double bass drums like that. And
Phil, Animal, hell yeah.
Unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And that was kind of inspirational, I think. When Lemmy died, I saw him a lot, and I got to meet him before he died, and I was always very standoffish because I don't like to lig, or I feel very uncomfortable talking to artists. But I had to talk to him because I didn't think he had long left. And I just said, look, you could just not do it anymore. You've done everything. Why? You don't need to go on stage. You're a legend. You just got a legend. Just relax now. And he said, done this all my life. I'm going to do it till I'm not around.
That's it.
And I said, well, look, what advice would you give to me? What's your golden chalice? What would you say is how one should conduct oneself to be, a good musician? And he said, well, obviously learn how to play, but he said, be good to every fan.
That's it.
Be good to every fan and be honest. Just be honest about who you are. He said, more people will dislike you than will like you, but just be honest. And those are the two things I've carried forward. And the day he died, we had a show, and then the news came that he died, and I only ever drank tequila, blue tequila or alcohol, and I said, I said, somebody get me a Jack and Coke. Somebody get me a Jack and Coke.
Exactly.
And then I put my Motorhead snaggletooth necklace on. And I went on stage. I got my microphone stand and I lifted it 2.5 inches and I bent the mic down towards me, and I've done the same thing ever since. And I don't care if people go, oh, he's trying to be Lemmy or any. It's like I don't give a fuck what people think. Every show I do is for Lemmy, and he's with me. Because if it wasn't for seeing that man, I wouldn't have done this at all. I wouldn't have done it if I'd never seen him. I wouldn't have done it. He made me want to do it.
He got me going, man. It's like I found out that day that he died, Ozzy called him, had him on the phone, and then he said something to Lemmy, and Lemmy's like, he's like, dude, fuck that. I'm on my way over. So he's trying to get ready. He's like, Sharon, get the car. You know, Sharon's like, man, it's too late. He's gone. And it's like, wow. So I'm like, fuck, man. So Ozzy was there. And he was almost there. He's like, man, he ain't sounding too good. I'm on my way. Fuck. But let's get to the new stuff that's coming out. I know you can't tell me the title, bastard. But song titles, anything? I mean, fuck. How many songs going to be on the album?
All I can say is that, because again with social media, as the record companies and everybody else, they want you to put out something from the new album way before it's due to come out, then put lyric videos out, then get the cover art, then get all titles, and they think it gets everybody juices flowing. And I guess in a way it does, but for me, I remember, I didn't know. We didn't have social media, of course. We didn't have fucking phones that we carried around in our pockets back then. But I would go to a record store knowing that there was a new album coming from Motorhead or whoever it was. And I'd wait for it. And the day it arrived, I'd be there to pick it up.
We talked about that yesterday. Yeah. It's exactly. England... in England, you get the album before it even comes out in the States, usually.
Yeah.
And I learned that,
Yeah. And in it comes, you see it unpackaged, and you see the cover for the first time, you buy it straight away, you run home. And you have to put it on the record. We put it on stereo, and we listen to it. So it was the first time we heard anything. It was the first time we'd seen anything. Now that kind of excitement I wanted to create again. So, with Harvey, when we put Harvey, I didn't want anybody to hear anything
until it came out.
Yeah. Until it came out. And eventually they said, we have to put something forward. So I said, okay. So I picked the most obscure song from the album, Dying Flash, and we edited it into a 4-minute.
I like War too. I like War too.
War is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it goes over great live. Metal We Bleed, War, Black and Roll, of course.
Yes.
And all this Tannis, What's amazing about that album is that we play those songs live, and everybody, they're in amongst the Live Like an Angels and the Poisons and the Sons of Satan and Witching Hour, and nobody bats an eyelid. They all